What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Clear Talk. For starters, I want to real quick say that I have been away for a couple of days, not being able to do a video. I've had we've got a house, an old house, my great grandparents' house, that I'm that's beside me. We're getting ready to demo it, and so I've been working with my dad on that to try to collect what we need from it, and want to salvage from it before it gets demoed, and just preparing the whole area for the demo. So that has taken up the past couple of days to handle that, and it just was pretty much, it was unable for me to actually do any kind of videos and cover stuff, and while there are things that need to be covered and talked about that are very serious, um, uh, to be talked about and discussed, as far as the world is concerned, that personally was also important for me and him. The memories and stuff we were going through, along with salvaging stuff and taking things. It's something. But anyways, if you've ever had to, because we're talking about a house that's like upwards of 100 years old. So anyways, so thank you very much for understanding that. All right, so in this video, real quick, we are going to be talking about the shutdown, the partial shutdown that's happening, that's got Congress in an uproar, that's got Trump flipping the fuck out, and long lines at your airports, TSA workers not showing up, even quitting, ICE being put into the airports, like that's going to fucking do anything. We're going to talk about it. So thank you very much for joining me here. If you're new, welcome to Clear Talk. First off, if you want to check out more videos from the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all that good stuff to get more videos in front of more people. And if you would like to check out other video channels of mine, you have JMD there, JMDPLAY, JMD Puzzling. If you like what you see there, please consider subscribing over there as well, and all that stuff, to help out those channels as well. That would be amazing. If you want to go, because it's free for you, okay, to subscribe is free. It helps me out tremendously, helps out the JMD Nation tremendously. And we're trying to hit 500 on all the channels. JMD has hit over 1,000. That's been amazing over there. But the rest of the channels are trying to hit 500. So if you can help me out with that, you don't have to worry about the notification if you don't want to be notified of of all videos. But if you do, great. That's amazing. But just at least subscribe. That would be amazing. I mean, think about all the crazy channels that you subscribe to that you probably don't even have to look at. But but at least you're helping out those channels. You're helping out them grow. Same thing here. I would love for you to help me out this channel grow. If you want to go further than that, though, there's Patreon there, $3 a month. You can support any of the channels that you would like to help grow those channels, help grow JMD Nation, and help grow Patreon and grow and contribute to that growth however you would like. Any support, contribution you give is very much appreciated, and I thank you very, very much. And if you're returning, you're freaking amazing. You're amazing. You are the shit. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back over and over again, because you are what makes JMD Nation. Okay, so what's going on? First off, let's see with Mr. Orange Man I'm just going to show you, okay? I just want to show you how. And let me point out before I flip over and we look at this. Remember, I know it's like Donald Trump, like you think of the man, just the man, for all these years, of all, decades long of knowing Donald Trump, and you just think of him as the man. But understand that this is not just a man, okay? This is not just a rich, wealthy guy that used to be a, reality TV star and blah, 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 or whatever, and is bankrupt, six times or whatever. It has numerous hotels and across the world. But no, just keep in mind that this is the president, okay? This is the president of the United States of America. All right, the same level as like Obama, Biden, Bush, Reagan, Eisenhower, FDR, Kennedy. Like, This is what we're talking about here. This man is the president of the United States. Okay, real quick. And I know, I talk about this fucker a lot, but listen. Okay, let's just check this out. Let's listen. Okay, this is True Social. If you don't look at True Social, I mean, every now and then you need to see. Yeah, he harps and says some weird shit on TV, but he's even crazier sometimes on True Social. Chuck Schumer, which, there's a lot to say about Schumer, but Chuck Schumer, a desperate, crippled, a desperate, crippled politician who has lost control of the radical left Democrats, will make a deal now because he thinks that it is that if he doesn't, Republicans will terminate the filibuster. And that's something that he is harping on and has been harping on for a long time, constantly wanting the Republicans to terminate the filibuster, although they are not going to do so. I mean, they might be desperate enough, if they're so desperate enough to try to push through what they wanted to push through with this, but to terminate the filibuster means you're really just setting up for whoever next to potentially, whenever the pendulum swings to one side or the other, according to them, in their minds, they're risking that next Congress, whatever way the pendulum swings, is going to have control. So for Republicans, they don't want to break it, because then if it swings Democrat, which, there's very, 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 very likely that that's going to happen in November, then they will have full, ability to run and do anything they want, without the filibuster there. And the same on the flip side. The Democrats don't want to do it, because then, like right now, the Republicans would be able to get away with fucking murder if they wanted to. So that's the reason why nobody's really wants to do that. Now, do I care? I mean, to some degree, I get it, but at the same time, the filibuster is what has crippled the entire Congress for decades since it was introduced. I mean, especially since they made it to where the filibuster is just verbal, like something that's just put in set, and you don't even have to actually filibuster. Like when it first said, you literally had to sit there and talk and filibuster, that's what the fucking, it means. Constantly trying to talk and argue against why something doesn't need to be passed or whatever. And, people, there were records of, hours and hours of people talking and speaking about against something, to filibuster and prevent. But now all you gotta just go, we want to filibuster. Well, that's it. Done. You just completely stall something. So they've made it, because they didn't want to have to do it the way it's originally was supposed to be, original purpose for it, because that was just too much work. But anyways, so that's what but it gets worse. It gets worse. Here. No, not that one. When is enough for our Republican senators? There comes a time when you must do what should have been done a long time ago, and something which the lunatic Democrats will do on day one if they ever get the chance. Terminate the filibuster and get our airports and everything else moving again. Also, add the complete all 5 items, Save America Act items, go for the gold. Okay, he's pressuring, telling Republicans to go all out, go for the gold, stop worrying about the lunatic Democrats, and terminate the filibuster. Now, again, think about if any other president had talked this way, if they got on X or they got on Facebook or they got on whatever the fuck and was talking. Think about if Biden was getting on here calling the lunatic Republicans or retarded Republican, something, what I'm saying, whatever, however you want, how you want to, words you want to spit out to put down the other side or whatever. This is what he constantly does. And think about the reaction that you would get from that. here. I mean, even here, we're talking about the war. The Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They are begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been militarily obliterated with zero chance of comeback. And yet they publicly state that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong. They better get serious soon before it's too late, because once that happens, there's no turning back and it won't be pretty. Like, this sounds like a fucking child, like a I wouldn't even say a teenager at this point. It's like a fucking child writing this shit. How petulant and petty he is. NATO nations have done absolutely nothing to hold with the lunatic nation, now military decimated, of Iran. The USA needs nothing from NATO, but never forget this very important point in time. Like I'm serious. Like, listen to this shit. Blame the Democrats for the airport's mess. They want our country to do badly. They want our country to fail. They broke the already signed bill because they want to take care of criminals who enter our country illegally rather than American citizens. Thank you for our great ICE patriots for helping. It makes a big difference. I may call up the National Guard for more help. Bro. And that's because they've sent ICE to the airports, which is fucking pointless. They don't know how to do shit when it comes to airports. So this completely pointless for them to be there. Except for them trying to find illegal immigrants, if that's what they want to try to, and claim that somebody is, that hasn't shown. There was a video of a woman being arrested the very fucking first Monday when they were sent to the airports. A woman was being arrested because she didn't have or couldn't show the idea that they were wanting her to show. Didn't have the proper ID to prove that she was an American citizen or some shit. Like, it's like, even though she was an American citizen. And now he's threatening to send the National Guard to the airports, apparently, as if they would be able to help. You don't have some sort of criminal thing happening at the airports or some sort of national security issue happening at the airports. You've got a funding issue. That's what the problem is. The Democrats don't want to make a deal unless amnesty and citizenship is given to millions of criminals who have entered our country illegal. This has nothing to do with immigration. Nothing. This shutdown, partial shutdown, has nothing to do with immigration whatsoever. This is just bullshit Republican talking points. Protect America. And the reason why he's stating this is because the Republicans are trying to force through the SAVE Act. That's the reason why he's saying stuff like this. And the SAVE Act is around voter ID, which they think, they think that illegal aliens are voting and causing mayhem and fraud in the elections. And it's absolutely batshit crazy. The radical left, country-hating Democrats are trying to create inner chaos to take away from the great military achievement we are having in Iran. They hate seeing us win so completely and decisively, but the American public sees what's going on. You're goddamn right, the American public sees what's going on. He's right there. We do see the bullshit that's going on, that you got us in our illegal, unobjective, like non-objective war, because you can't even tell us why you're there. You can't even give us an end game on what's the point. You certainly aren't in control of it because you're continuously having to send more and more troops there. With no end in sight. You keep claiming that you want to, that there's negotiations going on, and Iran keeps saying, yeah, it's not happening, bro. Not happening. He's full of shit. He's lying to you. We're not negotiating. We're not ending this. We are going holds bar, like full on. Anyway, all right. But you see, this is what I'm talking about. I just want to start the chaos, the sheer just stupidity and petulance of this man and how he talks about this kind of stuff. It's the president of the United States. Okay. Even George W. Bush, considered the previous probably most like uneducated or just plain talking moronic like speeches that he gave. Even he didn't come even remotely close to this just buffoonery. Like, okay. Anyways, what's going on though? All of this tripping out over the partial shutdown. What is the shutdown about? What is happening is that we have a budget bill trying to be passed around DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And under the flag of DHS includes TSA workers, just like ICE and other departments as well. But what's happening here through this bill, the Republicans are trying to add on. They're trying to add on not only the extra funding to DHS so that they can do more with ICE. They're trying to allow more, remove more regulations, or at least prevent any regulations to be added onto ICE so that ICE can have free reign. Plus, the big thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to push through the SAVE Act. They're trying to use the SAVE Act as if it needs to be implemented for the safety of elections, which they fear is a national security issue. And so because it's national security, it should be under DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And so they're trying to argue that should be how it goes under. And Democrats are like, no, we are not going to talk about, we're not going to vote and put through the SAVE Act through DHS funding. That's not the same thing. It has nothing to do with that. And on top of that, the Democrats are trying to ask for some further regulations and control of ICE, like not being able to wear masks, or at least like harsher, like different conditions around the appropriate times of wearing masks or whatever. And then they're also trying to I think impartial, even defund ICE a little bit, or keep them from being funded more. They're just trying to ask around. And asking for body cameras. They want the agents to have body cameras, and they're wanting independent investigations into misconduct, where we're seeing videos all over the place where ICE agents have done things that are questionable, violence or whatever, aggressive acts on citizens and non-citizens alike. There wants to be independent investigations, and Republicans are not wanting any of these restrictions or regulations to be added. They're wanting ICE to be able to just free reign, no limitations, expanding on the policies that they are able to do, and then, of course, again, the voter ID. And that's where the lockstep is. Republicans want more funding and no regulations for ICE. And Democrats want regulations, restrictions, want reforms to the policies to try to prevent what we have been seeing when it comes to the ICE agents and the deportation measures that the administration has been doing. And on top of that, they're refusing the SAVE Act. They want to put the SAVE Act on its own, separate. We'll vote on that separately if y'all want to vote on that at some point. But we're not, even though they're not going to agree with it then. And that's the reason why the Republicans are trying to push through now. They're just trying to do anything they can to force it through no matter what. And they're not backing down, but neither are the Democrats. So we have a complete lockstep. And this is all revolving. This is causing the TSA agents to not be paid. And it's going on, I think, 40 days now of the shutdown. So over a month, around a month that the TSA has not been paid. And there's over roughly around 500 TSA agents at this point that have quit. You're having everyday call-ins from TSA agents, but more and more and more because they are not getting paid. There's a very good chance that they're having to try to supplement pay with other jobs or something, or something. And the crazy part about this is that because all this is happening, then Trump turns around and says, okay, well then I will deploy ICE agents to certain airports to assist, because there are some airports that are having upwards of 3, 4, 5 hour stalls, waits, to even get through TSA, the security measures and stuff for the airports, because of the lack of staff, the lack of TSA agents. And so it is bottlenecking flights, causing people to have to get to the airports way ahead of time, especially in your larger airports. And so it is causing a lot of problem. It's probably not so much in your smaller ones, but your larger ones certainly. And so he deployed ICE agents as if they were going to be able to do anything. And you're seeing countless pictures and videos of ICE agents just standing around doing nothing. I mean, even he in one post talked about, hey, they're doing such a good job, even doing some cleanup measures. Like, oh, so we're talking about the same kind of shit as when you put the National Guard in Washington, what the fuck they were doing. They weren't doing any arrests. They were just cleaning up. They were on cleanup duty. Within a couple of days, all they were doing was cleanup duty. That's what you're going to do with ICE. And the airports are going to be under cleanup duty. And what's even worse is that ICE is funded. ICE was funded in the one big beautiful bill. Their whatever it was, $70-something million or whatever the hell it was. It was a whole shit ton. Reason why the ICE is the largest funded agency in the government now. And they already got paid. They're already getting paid. They are funded up for the next 3 years because of a reconciliation bill that they passed through. So they don't have to worry about the annual budget, which is what DHS is having a problem with right now, trying to get funded. The reason why TSA agents are not getting paid, because this is the annual budget bill that has to be looked at and voted on annually. So you have deployed ICE agents, and you have ICE agents even at some point overseeing what TSA agents are doing. So you have a paid person just watching someone who's being forced to work or choosing to work, but not getting paid. It's the craziness in this image that we're talking about here. And then on top of that, talking about sending National Guard. Again, these agents are not, and even the National Guard are not trained to be able to assist in what TSA does. They can help in some sort of way of like maintaining some sort of security to some degree, maintaining people, keeping control and not losing it over the wait times or whatever. But like, that's the only thing that they can't assist in any measure of actually speeding up the process, though. They can't do what TSA does. They're not trained for that. So just to deploy them there is not speeding up the process because they can't replace what TSA agents do. Neither can National Guard. None of this would be saving and fixing the problem. The problem is agents are not wanting to come to work because they are not being paid. Period. And both sides are arguing that it's each other's fault. The Republicans say that it's the Democrats' fault because the Democrats are not wanting to save America. They're wanting to let criminals through. We've tried to get them to agree to our reasonable bills, but they keep denying them. And then you have the same thing on the other side. Democrats saying, we have given you, it was just last week, they proposed like 10 times for a vote on the Democrat proposal side, what they are saying, which is basically what they're asking for. We will go ahead and fund TSA so that they get paid and they don't have to worry about it. And then all this stuff that we are not agreeing to, like the SAVE Act, like ICE reforms and stuff like that, we can discuss later. Let's just go ahead and pay the TSA workers, stop holding them hostage, because that's what the Republicans are basically doing. They're holding them hostage to try to force Congress, try to force the Democrats to allow what they want through, but they're not agreeing to it. And the Democrats are not going to agree to this. There's like a complete standstill on these things. And you're holding TSA agents not being paid hostage, basically. You're holding their paychecks. And so what's happening? Again, that means they're not coming to work, because who wants to get work and not get paid? And you can do that for so long, but after a month of that, I mean, nobody can withstand that. And again, Democrats have said, look, let's just go ahead and pay the TSA workers so that they're not without money. There's no sense in holding this, and we can continue to talk and work out the other stuff. We can try to find some sort of middle ground, although that's some bullshit too. But nevertheless, go ahead and pay TSA workers. But see, Republicans are not willing to do that. They're like, we're not going to let this through unless you agree to the SAVE Act and all these other things. So we're at a complete standstill on this. And again, like I said, we're up to 40 days plus. Today, the Senate Republicans are doing what they call a final offer, the last and final offer. And if the Democrats do not agree to it, then they're going to go to the next level, basically. Republicans are going to go to what Trump would probably say, the nuclear level, which is more than likely, which is probably Trump trying to push through again. He continues to try to push through the filibuster. And if there's anything, if they are so determined to get this SAVE Act through, which we have seen is going to force and pressure, or rather suppress, a lot of people from being able to vote in November without having to go through drastic measures to change their voter IDs and voting stuff, changing it's at some point may not even be able to change it unless they actually change their names back or something like it. There's several steps that are going to have to be made for people to even vote, if they would even be able to vote, or even have to buy IDs that or pay for things that would be considered good enough for Republicans as IDs, which again, we've already talked about that. That would be considered a poll tax. because shouldn't have to. You can't be forced to pay for some sort of ID just to be able to vote. That's against our Constitution. That's against free and fair elections. The part of free means you don't have to pay or buy anything in order for you to vote. You being a citizen is all that's needed. You shouldn't have to purchase something to prove that you're a citizen. Simple as that. But that's what they're trying to push through. So we're at a standstill. But at least at this point, the Democrats are actually fighting, which is something that they typically don't do. Usually at this point, they have found some sort of way to give in and let Republicans get what they want because they're too afraid to actually stand firm on an issue. So that is great. The only problem, again, is that unfortunately, by doing that, in the determination of the right, we have people not getting paid. I know this type of thing. It's always in the shutdown, the government shutting down, and somebody not getting paid seems to be something that is over and over happening here. People getting paid as hostage to try to force through policies and stuff that have absolutely nothing to do with them. It has absolutely nothing to do with them getting paid. But that's our Congress at this point. And usually, again, it's the Democrats that cave and the Republicans get what they want because the Republicans are the ones that are oftentimes trying to force through shit that nobody really agrees with. And they have no problem with holding people hostage. They have no problem with that in order to force through what they think is going to save America, or what really it is give them more power. Keep them in control. Because they know that all the shit that they've been doing here is going to come back to bite them in the ass in November. That is clear. But let me know what you think. Until next time, peace, clear talk. I'm out.